I remember when we had culture shift in Ibadan, and I was explaining from, I think, Ephesians 4, Ephesians 4:11. He gave some to be apostles, some prophets, some evangelists, some pastors, some teachers for the equipping of the saints, the work of the ministry, the edification of the body of Christ. And I was explaining that the fivefold equips the saints, so that the saints can do the work of ministry. What we have done is believe that the fivefold is doing the work of ministry.
True.
Whereas the fivefold are supposed to be like coaches,
equip the saints
that equip the saints so that the saints can do the work of ministry. The saints are the one engaging the world in various fields. So in the saints, you have doctors, you have lawyers, you have farmers, you have this, you have that. You have so many people inside the pews. So when the fivefold equips the saints can let their light so shine before men. In the world.
They are the ones in the world.
They are the ones in the world. They are the ones who are interfacing with the world. But because we have interpreted it as now fivefold they preach, now fivefold they do ministry. You say, are you in ministry?
My God.
Are you in ministry? Oh, I'm going into ministry. And God has called me to ministry. I don't understand. We are all in ministry. Even if you're a business person, you're in ministry, man. And your business place is your pulpit. The same way the boat was pulpit for Peter. So now, because we've relegated the pews, we now have powerless pews who cannot effect any change in society.
My God.
So as church they full, corruption they increase for the country. The maths is not mathing.
It's not.
We are increasing in number. Corruption is increasing. How? You cannot tell me that it is only through a certain tempo of music, a certain style of music that God's power can move. If you have not seen God's power move through a particular sound, it is because the persons have not accessed power on that level yet. That's one. Two, I also have to point out that the fact that people are crying and having goosebumps and falling does not mean that power fell, does not mean that power moved, does not mean that God moved, does not mean that God blinked in that meeting. It's just chords.
People fell when under Michael Jackson's.
They even fainted.
People passed out.
People don't even understand history. You realize that hymns were criticized by the same body of Christ hundreds of years ago as the music of the clubs.
Same hymns.
Hymns didn't start in church. That sound did not start in church. It started outside. It's like blues. In fact, what is common now as worship is soft rock. In early 1900s, the music of the church was completely Western. In Nigeria, the music of the church was completely Western. And so it was not connecting with the people on the streets. They could not use the music of the church to evangelize to everyday people, everyday Nigerians. A man called J.J. Ransom Kuti.
Now we're entering it.
Josiah Jesse Ransom Kuti. Who used to be a mainstream musician, used to play jazz, used to play piano.
Mainstream guy. Away from the temple.
Away from the temple. Then he got into the Anglican system, started being raised to become a reverend. He's always been involved in music because his father, who is actually the first Kuti, his father, who was a traditionalist, actually used to sing in groves. In ancestral groves, actually, right? So he used to carry JJ as a child. So he knew the music of the shrine. When he became a reverend and he started evangelizing, he believed that music could do more than it was doing. And he saw that the music of the church was only connecting with the aristocrats and wasn't connecting on the level with everyday people. So what did he do? He started to indigenize those hymns. So the same way Samuel Ajayi Crowther converted
the English Bible
to Yoruba so that people can relate, so you can speak to a people, speak the gospel to a people. It was J.J. Ransom Kuti that introduced the music of the church to the people on the land. In fact, some of those songs were rhythms and melodies that he had learned as a child in the groves. He flipped it and used it to explain the gospel because they were rhythms that the people were familiar with.
He recorded the first song in Nigeria.
He's the first man in the history of Nigeria to record an album. He recorded it in 1922.
And that's the grandfather of...
That's Fela's grandfather.
Fela.
So, you see, Paul said, I will be all things to all men, so that by all means I will win some. For the sake of that some, He was willing to be all things
to all
men. He knew he would not win all. He knew he would win some. But for the sake of that some, I will be all things to all men. We don't understand our mandate. That's why we are satisfied with the small that is inside the temple. Jesus said, the harvest is plentiful. The laborers are few. Why? But there are many people inside temple. But they are so dogmatic that they cannot labor.
You can't get in.
They can't get in. We claim to be light, we are avoiding darkness. You claim to be salt, you don't want to enter the soup. You don't want to enter the heat. You don't want to enter the soup because of the heat. The pot is hot because food is being cooked. If you are going to experience the soup, you will experience the heat. If you are not ready to experience the heat, then you are just going to be salt in jar. You'll be pointless. We are just salt in jar, and we are over-salting each other and fighting and competing between denominations. There are people out there, man. There's a drug epidemic going on in our country.
Serious.
Who is speaking to it? Teenagers are getting destroyed in droves. We are doing conferences. Who is coming to conferences? Not Christians.
Yeah.
Then you invite an artist. If the artist should not charge because you say the artist should be preaching gospel. Is it gospel you are preaching at a conference? Not Christian you are talking to. It's not ourselves we are talking to in the conference.
Yeah.
No, now let's more talk.
True.
It's not Christians gathering at all the conferences we are doing up and
for
down.
Christians.
Only Christians they gather for the conference. And with all the Christians, the country still not change. So in actual fact, our doctrine is actually not even transforming the land.
We are not entering. We are not going into the world as commanded.